This is modern homesteading. Beautiful piece of red fir here. Really straight. If you look down there, not a lot of big limbs, just insignificant limbs. We've got a little hook right there at the bottom. What that means is when you have the tree kind of grows up crooked out of the ground, you know, we'll cut that off. That'll make good pieces for firewood, but for the most part, it's a good straight stick. Well, look to that hook down there that we talked about. See how that turns up? Hard to tell here with the camera, but I'm going to make a mental note of that. You know, right there, we'll go up there and lop that off. We don't want that when we're trying to mill. You can see a little better from this angle, right there where my axe head is. That's where that hook really takes off. So we'll lop it right there, cut that block off, and then we'll buck to length. For me, it's really something special to work with these old tools. I know I go on and on about it, but especially the ones that are family tools, like this one. I've never showed you this axe before. This belonged to my grandfather. This was his American felling axe. It's a Craftsman head. You know, Craftsman, we know that came from Sears. I mean, Sears has always been quality, or always was quality in the old days. You know, things change now, but knowing when you bought Sears, you just knew that you'd get something for the most part that would be pretty good. And I doubt that they made their own axes. They probably sourced them out to Collins or one of the major USA manufacturers back in the day. But I was just thinking as I was chopping this wood and working with these old tools, I wanted to share a story with you that was told to me by Joe Salatin. I interviewed him at the Mother Earth News Fair last year, and we were talking a little bit about, he was telling me a story of a guy. He's got a farm called Polyface Farms, where they do what do you call it, everything that they grow is organic, and they don't use pesticides. It'll come to me in a minute, so it's neither here nor there. But he has interns. He takes interns that come from all over the world, and a lot more people apply than he accepts. But he had one guy that was a computer engineer, a software engineer. His entire life had been spent in a cubicle, and he had finally reached the point where he'd had enough. And he was telling Joel, or he was helping Joel. I think they were working on a fence, or they were just doing some job with using their hands, building something from scratch. And when they had completed it and they stood back from it and were admiring their work at the end of the day, this young guy just broke down into tears. And Joel asked him, you know, what's going on? What's the matter? And he said, you know, I've never done anything like this before. My entire life has been spent behind a computer screen, and I would create these complex financial models, and I would work with different people all over the world via conference call, and I never knew them and never met them, and we would work for months on these complicated models, and then we would push enter and send it, and off it would go to somewhere, someone who knew. You know, there wasn't anything tangible. It just, all that work and all that effort just vaporized into the internets. And this was the first time in his life that he'd actually put his hand to tools and actually created something that was tangible, something that he could show his son and say, look what I built. You know, I built that, or I built this. And that is such a part of manliness and manhood. And I know we can't all work in jobs like that, and I'm not suggesting that you do, but you can, as your hobbies, you can take on projects. You can take on woodworking or do a small-scale timber framing, just using stuff that you buy at Home Depot. You don't need to fall your own trees. But take back your masculinity, take back your manliness and your creativity. And it's something anyone can do anywhere. You just have to start on a small scale. When splitting firewood, don't just stand in one place and just beat a hole in it, but work around. You want to picture it like pieces of pie that come off. You can see the way this naturally wants to break is we'll have a centerpiece here in the heartwood, but these pieces will want to hit here and here and here, and just keep working around, and pretty soon you'll get nice little wedges that'll just chop on there. That's the most efficient way to chop around. So those of you guys that are like me, who find yourself falling trees from time to time but are not professional fallers, it's a good idea to go back and take a look at what you did. And you can see, it'll tell you where your mistakes are. When I look at this right here, I see this is good. I've got a nice step here that'll prevent that tree from kicking back on me. Over here, I've got a nice bit of 2 inches of hinge wood right there, but you can see right here, I don't have a lot of hinge wood. So this could be better. It would have been better for this hinge wood to be, 2 inches all the way across there. I overcut this a little bit, and when I look at these things, I always pay special attention to them, and that way I can know what not to do, and to improve my techniques and to be able to cut safer. I was really surprised to count these rings on this tree and find out that this tree is 112 years old, give or take. This tree was a sapling in 1902. It's hard to believe. I think what it is this area that it's growing here is pretty shaded. There's a lot of timber here. It had to compete right here the first part of its life. There's 30 years, 40 years, yeah, 35 years or so right in here where it grew really slow. Lots of shade. That's what you get when trees are competing. When there are too many trees, is they grow real slow like that. They're just competing for water and nutrients. And later on, once it was able to break out and get some of its own sunshine and get its tap roots down deep into the water, then it started growing like a tree should. But it's pretty astonishing to think of. What makes me think of when I cut down a tree like this is to really appreciate it. How long it took for this tree to grow where it could become something that's useful. So I can think of no better way, not without getting all new agey and weird, on you. I don't consider trees to be like people, but I think that they do, our natural resources and especially our timber, they deserve respect, and there's no better way to respect something that God gives us, or to respect over 112-year-old tree, than to use it to make something beautiful, something that people will enjoy and will give pleasure to the family. So it's pretty cool, isn't it? Pretty cool indeed. Man, I had a great time out there yesterday. Just a great time. Speaking of Joe Salatin, when I was speaking to him at the Mother Earth News Fair, he said something to me that really struck home, and it just made so much sense. He asked, if you could do anything you wanted to do, what would that be? And you think about that and think about, if money wasn't an object and I could just do my heart's desire, what would it be? If you can have the courage to step out and to make that happen, even though you may not see a way or how you're going to be able to provide for your family. The thing is with it is, if you truly are following your passions and your desire, you almost can't help but succeed, because enthusiasm breeds enthusiasm. And if you find your hand doing something that you just truly love and truly enjoy, it's almost a recipe for success. But you know, it's hard to do that. It takes courage to step out and to pursue your passions and pursue your dream and to walk away from something you've always done. But don't let that hamstring you. And just remember that you only get one chance at this life, and you need to make the most of it and do the best you can. I love YouTube. I just enjoy this format. It's such a blessing and an amazing opportunity for us to gather together here and to share this information and to have access to each other and have something that's real. I think that all of us are just a little bit sick and tired of the fake and phoniness of entertainment and media and the contrived nature of it. And I think that's why YouTube is the future. And I think why this format is so appealing to so many of us, because it's authentic and it's real. And we just long for something that's authentic and real because it's lacking in this world. Enough of that. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed, I invite you to subscribe. You'll get notifications and you can follow the project. And again, I have to remind you, a gentle reminder, if you do want to support the channel, please comment and please click a thumbs up. It really helps, and I appreciate it, as always. And as is my custom as of late, I've included over here to the left a couple of videos that bringing them back from the past that you might enjoy. Those of you who are new subscribers, you can click on those and see some of the some of my older stuff. And those of you guys who haven't seen it for a while, watch it again. It's not going to do you any harm. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on 7.0.